This week in news surrounding Israel, third Toronto Synagogue hit by gunfire in 1 week. Stay tuned, friends, for all the details. Well, shalom, everyone. Welcome once again to this week's newscast. I'm Robert Gottselig, your host. And as the world watches the U.S. and Israel destroy the demonic Iranian regime, here in Toronto, Canada, 3 synagogues were hit by gunfire in 1 week. World Israel News reporting on this informed the world that 2 synagogues in the Toronto area were struck by gunfire overnight, marking the 3rd shooting targeting a Jewish house of worship in the region in less than a week. Beth Avram Yosef of Toronto in Thornhill and Sharei Shamayim in North York were both hit shortly after midnight. No injuries were reported, but the back-to-back attacks sent another shockwave through a community already rattled by the earlier shooting at Temple Emmanuel in North York. In Thornhill, York Regional Police say officers responded near Clark Avenue and York Hill Boulevard around 11:49 p.m. and found evidence of gunfire directed at the building. Police said 2 people were inside at the time and were unharmed, and investigators believe a dark sedan pulled up and opened fire. Minutes later, Toronto police were called to Sharei Shamayim near Bathurst Street and Glencairn Avenue, where bullet holes were visible on the front doors. Authorities have not said the 2 shootings are connected. The latest attacks came only days after Temple Emmanuel was hit following a Purim gathering. In that case, Toronto police said officers found multiple shell casings and gunfire damage at the entrance and brought in the hate crime unit along with the integrated gun and gang task force. And then listen to this. Police also said 22 anti-Semitic occurrences have been reported in Toronto so far this year, representing roughly 63% of all reported hate crime occurrences in the city. That's terrible. That's heartbreaking. And of course, Prime Minister Mark Carney condemned the attacks, but B'nai B'rith says words are not enough. No, they're not. And here's what they had to say. They said that terror is in our Canadian streets. Jews are being attacked in their neighborhoods with insufficient responses from all levels of government and enforcement agencies. Action is needed now. No more words, no more finger pointing, no more excuses. We demand clarity. We demand that our government draw the line now and action the initiatives that are long overdue. Anything else would serve to demonstrate that the recent attacks on our businesses and institutions will in fact be tolerated in our society, and we will not allow this to happen. They concluded by saying these recent attacks did not occur in a vacuum. They are a product of the permissive environment that has been fostered on our streets. We are now witnessing the consequences of allowing hate and division to become normalized, something we have warned against day after day. This must end immediately. And I wholeheartedly agree. It's time for Canada's leaders to wake up. Canada's better than this. And our leaders, they need to stop taking a soft stance on anti-Semitism. Consider this, friends. I'll tell you what, if the rallies that we see happening in our streets, this from the river to the sea nonsense, was aimed at the elimination of the LGBT community, I'll tell you what, people would be arrested almost immediately and charged with hate crimes. Yet, when the calling for the elimination of Israel is chanted on our streets, well, somehow it's tolerated. And you see, allowing this kind of language to flourish is what it does, is only fuels the spread of anti-Semitism. What we are seeing here with these attacks on these Toronto synagogues and in the Jewish community. You've got to wake up. You have to confront this immediately, as B'nai B'rith is calling leaders to do. Friends, the recent attacks on synagogues here in Toronto, it reminds us of a sobering truth. when we look to God's word. It reminds us that when leaders fail to act, the people will suffer. This is what we read in Proverbs 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when a wicked man rules, the people groan. Taking no action and merely only words, that is an evil action by our leaders. They need to wake up, and we need to stop these things from happening. You see, and in light of God's promise in Genesis 12:3, where he promises that he'll bless those that bless the Jewish people and curse those who curse them, friends, it's imperative that our leaders take decisive action to confront and stop this evil hatred targeting our Jewish communities. Because if they do not, according to God's word, judgment will come upon our nation. And as a result, as Proverbs 29 warns, the people will then indeed groan. Yes, this whole country will be groaning as God's judgment comes if we do not do something to stop this vile, demonic anti-Semitism from happening here in our country. Bottom line is, we need to be in prayer. We need to be in prayer for our leaders to finally take a strong stand against this evil. And we need to be praying for the safety of our Jewish friends here and around the world. Because I'll tell you what, the Jewish community has been deeply affected by everything, especially since October 7th. Here in Canada, anti-Semitism has spiked, it's out of control. And as what we see happening here in Toronto and these synagogues being shot up, it's only going to be a matter of time if we do nothing that somebody or many are going to die. And so we need to be praying for our leaders and praying for the safety of our Jewish friends here and around the world. And I hope that you will join us all at the Friends of Israel Gospel Ministry, as our mission has been to stand, love, and support Israel and the Jewish people. And we will confront anti-Semitism until our very breath. And so I hope, friends, that you will join us in prayer in doing so. And with that, and until next time, thanks for joining us on another episode of In News Surrounding Israel.